Hello again, my name is DemiDon of DemiDon Games, and today I'm going to be talking about ICO. And not really so much more about ICO as is about Yorda. As we all know, with this whole thing with, feminism and, Anita Sarkeesian and things like that, we point at Yorda as the damsel in distress. Now, I do believe, yes, Yorda is a damsel in distress. There's no way of, getting around that. But you see, a lot of things that people, the one thing that people don't ever realize when it comes to video gaming is that when they point at characters inside the video game, and it's like they lose the fact, like the very purpose of the game itself. ICO. The purpose of the game is that it is a puzzle adventure type game. It is a puzzle adventure genre. So, if Yorda was to have her own, be able to move on her own. Well, she does move on her own, but to actually think and do things on her own without the help of ICO, which I learned that actually is his name. I wasn't even sure, but yeah, that's his name, ICO. Then the whole genre would change. At least I think so. You wouldn't be able to just be like, okay, in order for me to get her from point A to point B, I have to do this, that, and a third. But if she actually does think and do things on her own, then the whole purpose of a puzzle platformer puzzle adventure would not be there. It would just be an adventure game. There will be no puzzle. And they're like, okay, she can do things on her own now. She doesn't need me for certain things. Heck, she can even tell me where to go in case I get stuck. And the whole purpose, the whole genre would change. Well, half of the genre would change. It would not be puzzle adventure. It would just be adventure, which might as well have been a co-op game. And it won't really benefit the actual player in any sense, because it doesn't give the player the ability to think. It's just, well, I just walked in here. Well, I guess I just walk around and see whatever it is that happens, and if whatever happens, we'll just, figure it out through common sense, and everything will be okay. It shouldn't ever work like that in a puzzle adventure. So yeah, Yorda is an object in some sense. But you also have to look at the fact that that's just the way the game is created. Don't point at the developers and say, oh my gosh, you're subjugating women or something like that, when in fact they're just creating a game using different elements. Okay, Yorda is the object in this point where you actually need her in order to open doors and, to do certain things. I don't really understand why is it now, in this day and time, that now we have to look at characters as if they are real people. They are not. They're not real people. No matter how hard we try, these characters are never going to be real. Sure, you can look at these characters and saying, yeah, they're portrayed a certain way, but think about the real world. There are actually people who do act like the characters that we do see in video gaming today. Now, would you go up to those people and say, oh, why would you demean yourself in this type of way? Because you're acting like Yorda from ICO? Or why are you subjugating women because you're acting like the character from you're acting like ICO from the game? Now, I don't see why do we have to try and place fantasy and reality and, try and, put them together as if they really correlate. Because they don't. I mean, sure, there is... Well, okay, let me put it this way. When a developer is creating a game and, there's a premise there, there's a logic that is being used in the game, such as, Yorda being the object at the, in the game, where you need her to open doors and unlock certain things, stuff like that. Where you have to use platforms in order to get across. A lot of thinking has to be used here. Sure, it tires out the player, and you've seen my videos, hopefully you have. It gets on my nerves, but at the same time, it's like, if I just let her do the thinking for me, then I'm not being benefited that way. I'm not getting anything from it. It's just easier for me. It's just like, oh, well, that's a big relief. I don't really gotta do much now. There's not much thinking going on at this point. That's just what I wanted to talk about when it came to ICO. And the whole thing with, the Anita Sarkeesian logic. I'm going to call it the Anita Sarkeesian logic because Anita Sarkeesian seems to have a problem with how females are portrayed in video games, or rather how characters that are modeled in a feminine fashion are portrayed in their own world, which were created by the developers of that said world. Anyway, I'm done. My name is DemiDon of DemiDon Games. I'll be doing another video shortly on something else that had struck me, but I can't really figure it out. But you'll see in the next video. But until then, trade your gamer integrity for the future of gaming, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.